seconds.
All right, we're back
Yeah.
live. Hopefully everything is fixed now. I don't know if anybody's going to find us at this new version of the Thursday night episode, but maybe it's the fires, Jared. Maybe the fires are affecting your connection.
I do look a little bit cloudy on my screen right now.
Yeah, there's too much smoke in the room, and that's what's going on. All right, we were talking about Mauricio Pochettino being confirmed as head coach of the U.S. men's national team. Finally done. Again, I mentioned that there's the battle at Chelsea, and U.S. Soccer had to go find a billionaire to get some extra cash in. You were saying that it bothers you that U.S. Soccer is not in a place to put that cash together on their own. Is that what you said?
I'm conflicted about it. I mean, in that I'm pleased that they have the ambition to find a way to make the situation work and grab one of the premier coaching talents in the world. But I'm also kind of let down that we needed to ask for a loan from a sugar daddy. I feel a little bit like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman here, like someone's taking me on a shopping spree in an area of town that I don't belong in.
But where would you think this money would come from to pay a guy like Pochettino? Like if we're
I
going
don't know.
Pochettino.
I would think we play Mexico enough freaking times to maximize the
that we just have $6
fill.
million a year lying around. Like we just got.
I don't know. Like we obviously you're going to have to pay the $2 million to Greg Berhalter too, right? Like so we pissed $2 million away on him. I don't see any way around that.
Are we going to do that? Like so this is a thing. Like are we going to do this thing where we like are judging the Fed for spending the money that they definitely needed to spend to get a much higher quality coach than Greg Berhalter? Like I understand that you could argue they overpaid Greg Berhalter.
It's just unfortunate that technically Pochettino's costing us $8 million. It's costing us $8 million.
Why is that unfortunate though? That's the going rate. What's
well? No, $6 million is what we're paying him, but it's going to cost us $8 million because we got to pay 2 coaches.
Well, it's going to cost us
paid.
$6 for Pochettino.
Yeah,
probably another $2 for the guys that are coming with him, and $2 for Greg Berhalter. So this is why you got to go find the 34th richest man in the world.
If this is a hard thing for the fan base to reconcile, in that if you're going to charge $150 a ticket to go watch this team.
But
there should be coffers that should pay
tell
for something.
How? Where does that again? This is a member service organization, right? They're spending money to do all kinds of things all over the country. I don't know. I don't have the books. I mean,
so is every other national team in the world.
Okay. So I don't think every other national team in the world operates the same way the U.S. Soccer operates. Let's just be clear about that. The way the laws exist in this country make it a little bit different than some of the other associations, FAs out there.
Travel costs are higher too.
I mean, there's lots of, again, all I'm saying is I don't have enough of the line item information to say, well, U.S. Soccer blew all their money. I can't believe they have to go to a rich guy to pay Pochettino. Like, I would rather go to the rich guy and get Pochettino than not, but I do understand that it's weird to be beholden to Pochettino.
The odd thing for me is that you think it would be a sponsor of World Cup 2026 that wants more eyeballs on it and wants the U.S. soccer team to draw people in. It seems to me that would be the place the money would come from.
I don't think from a corporate standpoint, Coca-Cola or Nike or whoever is going to be like, yeah, let's just add $6 million a year to our outgoing money.
If they think their return on investment is there.
Well, but that's the thing. They don't know for sure. Like, I think that's a much harder sell to a board of a major corporation than it is for one guy who has billions in his portfolio to drop a check. And okay, so this is the thing that is interesting about this, right? That he's a soccer guy. He's already given the U.S. Soccer Foundation $8 million to build fields and small pitches in places like Florida. So again, is this a problem? Do you feel like we're beholden to this wealthy dude now? Somebody give me his name because it's not in my head and I don't have it here. But
isn't it 2 guys or just one?
I read about one, but there might be other. Well, Arthur Blank has definitely given U.S. Soccer some cash, right? Because of the new federation headquarters in Atlanta.
Ken Griffin.
And however, Ken Griffin's the guy that's footing the
Ken
bill
Griffin
for Poach.
Jr.
Based on the reports. I have heard that what Arthur Blank has done means that there is a you scratch my back now kind of part of that, right?
Oh, what's he getting returned down the line?
Games in Atlanta.
Well, he's already got the national team there.
Well, I'm saying games, national team games in Atlanta. Not
Yeah.
not hey, you just a training facility and it's Atlanta. It's great. National team games in Atlanta,
So I get it. So Atlanta's going to be the new Cincinnati.
basically. And I don't know. Again, I don't even know if that's bad or not. Right. And again, like if this is a leap and we get to 2026 and Mauricio Pochettino pushes us to a different level and we reach some deep part of that tournament, and I don't want to even, like I'm trying not to be superstitious, but I don't even want to speak it out loud because I feel like it'll ruin it. Then it will be a return on their investment, and soccer will explode further, and their soccer properties or whatever they're interested in.
I think it's a little too late for this from Nathan. He says
No,
World
it's
Cup
not
games in Atlanta. That's
and
already
U.S.
scheduled.
soccer.
Yeah.
U.S. soccer has no power over where the games go for the World Cup. That no power, right? So again, I don't know. I mean, the King Griffin part of it is still something I'm wrestling with because I compared it, Jared. I know you're not a huge like college football guy, but the people listening to us right now who know anything about college football know how boosters impact, or used to, and before the new rules about making money for players, how boosters impact the way that programs are run, right? And the power that they have to dictate things because they're the ones giving money out and footing the bill for things like training facilities and the like. So we are now in that territory. This is now like we're running a college football program, except it's the U.S. men's national team and U.S. women's national team for that matter, because the money is all sloshing around in the same
Speaking
pot.
of the women's national team, it's interesting to see the role that Emma Hayes played in this a bit too, like making that call to Pochettino, letting him know that, hey, this might be a good move. I mean, obviously she's a big
Follow the
cheerleader for
American
U.S.
dream,
soccer.
Mauricio. Follow the American dream.
Do we get the answer yet if he's going to have to live in the States or not?
I have not seen that. He is supposed to have. No, our timing is good, but our timing is also bad. His introductory press conference is tomorrow as we record this. So we don't exactly know how that's going to go, and there's some information we'll get that we don't know.
Hopefully,
hopefully,
John Tanner will let us know.
JTT?
Maybe JTT asked that hard-hitting question tomorrow.
OMFBG13
lately. Women's World Cup's over. He had a pass during the World Cup.
He's grinding. He's out there grinding right now, JTT.
Who?
No.
What's your name?
The job. He's grinding. Man, you're so inappropriate.
You said it. Sometimes people rub jeans together.
Can I show you something? Can I show you something? I know this is, we're also going to record this for the podcast listeners. I am showing right now images of Mauricio Pochettino holding up a jersey that says Pochettino.
It literally looks like that jersey should say, I need help, call, like someone send the SEAL team in. He looks like he's a hostage.
So what I've got on the screen is a picture of Pochettino by himself holding up a jersey that says Pochettino and the number 24 on the back. He's wearing a polo, which is pretty, I don't know that I would wear it, but it's pretty nice. Pretty nice looking polo.
Blue collar. I don't know.
Looks
like Spain. It would be Spain.
I mean, the other picture where he's with Matt Crocker, I'm sorry, Joe Cocker. My bad. I forgot. He is kind of smiling. He's half smiling. Why he couldn't smile in the other one, that looks like, it looks like it's from a sitcom.
For the podcast listener, I'm sorry you're not seeing what they were talking about here, but
I just described.
But the first one literally looks like you caught him doing something bad with the shirt.
Is that how it looked? To me, it's just there's no expression. There is zero.
He doesn't know how to explain to himself what he was cleaning up or something.
No,
I don't know.
It's like, I don't know. It's like a blank slate.
Why does he have a charm bracelet on? Do you see the size of the little medallion hanging off? It's like his handcuffs on or something.
We may come to some of that. And here he is. Looking much more engaged. Like hands on the knee, the dad energy, or like the PE coach energy is kind of off the charts here a little bit. Like the hair is that a style, or is it just kind of mussy on purpose? What are we doing?
To go back to Joe Cocker here, is there ever been a more Getty Images search for white dude than Joe Cocker? Dude is like,
you have to put in
footage
Welsh.
White dude.
You have to put in Welsh. Like, I don't think he looks too American, that Joe Cocker. I mean,
who said American? I said white.
No, I know you did, but if you put white guy into a Google machine,
I'm surprised his pants aren't pleated. That's how white he is.
Okay. Matt Crocker is super white, and Mauricio Pochettino is wearing a charm bracelet and looks like
he actually kind of looks like Matt Crocker looks like if what's that guy's name? Who's the guy that played the intern on 30 Rock?
I don't know, but Mauricio Pochettino.
Oh, come on, you know who it is.
I don't. I've watched 2 episodes of 30 Rock in my life. So how would I know?
Like if he grew up. Someone in the chat.
Talking about Jack Breyer? Is that who you're talking about?
Jack McBrayer. Jack McBrayer. If he grew up, that's what Jack McBrayer grew up to look like, right there.
Jack McBrayer is a grown-up human being. He looks
never.
like he looks.
Nope, that dude never grows. He's same age the whole time.
I was going to say that the other picture where Pochettino's holding up the jersey, he's solo. It looks like something from Arrested Development. Like it looks like a shot you would see in the show Arrested. I know we're very timely with our references to the television, but yeah. So there's that. I will also say there's a story that you didn't know about. I think some people do. Let me ask the chat right now. Do you know about the lemons and the energy? The chat people, do you know about the lemons and the energy? And Mauricio Pochettino, give me a thumbs up or a yes or something. Let me know if you know about it. If you don't, we're going to learn something together. It's very. Is
this like Scientology or something?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how you want to describe this. So
he's got thetans he has to clear.
About a year ago, while he was coaching Chelsea, a story came out in the Guardian. I think Jacob Steinberg wrote it, and I have some quotes here. This is from that story at the Guardian. It says that Pochettino was remaining positive about his team's displays. This is again at Chelsea. There is a spiritual dimension to his beliefs. Oh, shit. Pochettino keeps a bowl of lemons in his office to absorb negative energy. He was asked when Chelsea will start to feel the benefits. Quote, they started to work after 2 years. I'm already worried. He's got a 2-year contract. The World Cup's in 2 years.
It takes 2 years to wait for these damn lemons to work?
These lemons need to work faster.
If we squeeze them, will it go faster?
How do we make these lemons work faster?
What if we sub them for Tangelos?
Give time to the lemons. It's a thing that we all believe. Who is we all?
What?
Who is we all?
Farmers?
I mean, I'm assuming his coaching staff, I guess. If you want to have good energy, you need to implement all the things that you believe. Apparently, the lemons,
$6 million, dude.
He believes them. Okay, here's more. I believe in the lemons, but at Tottenham, they started to work after 1.5, 2 years. They need a long time. They are not magic. But more than ever, I still believe it. He believes in the lemons, Jared. Today in my office, I have yellow ones, green ones, different types, from Spain, from Italy. I don't want to lie. There's a big box of lemons. I always thought the yellow lemons worked better than the green, but now I believe any color can
This
help.
dude's got like an infinity gauntlet of citrus.
If I could get a blue lemon, it would be even better. And then at the end, it says, a debate broke out whether a green lemon is actually a lime. Pochettino said, a lime is not a lemon. It is a brother, maybe with a different mother or a different father.
Holy
Jared
shit.
Dubois? I feel like you know this guy because you play Frisbee golf or whatever you guys call that.
Don't take Frisbee golf into this.
No, I feel like this is a Frisbee golf kind of guy. The guy who talks about lemons absorbing bad energy is a Frisbee golf guy.
I don't know, man. This is some of the new wave kind of shit. This is very California, though. I'll give you that. It's very California. There's 10 other people in Malibu with lemons right now. I know it. And then there's another 20 that went to go get them once they read this.
The thing about this I love is that, okay, it's out there. For sure it's out there. But it kind of fits into like these old wives' tale things that have really been part of all of our cultures. Doesn't really matter where you're from. Your grandmother did stuff like this, right? Like, this is what Jack says. He's tapping into grandma's tried and true remedies. Like, it could be an Argentinian thing. It could be something he's picked up in Europe. It could be something.
That's all well and good until Christian Pulisic has a soft tissue problem and he puts leeches on him.
It's like rubbing lemon. It's like rubbing lemon on the injuries. Come on,
you be like Chris Rock and put some tussin on it. Like,
I mean,
we had to have some sense. It took the fact that you said it took about 2 years until they started to work, or it took that long for the project to start to work. You know, when you have a big project, it's going to take some time. So are we saying the reason that he couldn't get Chelsea to work last year is that the lemons needed one more year?
I just wonder.
They just started you know what? In April.
He got to the end of last season and they took him into that meeting and they were like, what's going on, Mauricio? And he was like, well, the lemons haven't worked yet. And they're like, we don't really have time for these lemons to start working. Like, we need to kick this into overdrive. Chelsea needs to be contending.
Your problem is you're using these organic ones. Put some.
And he's like, you can't rush the lemons, brother. Like you can't rush the lemons. The lemons have to do their work on their own time.
So here's my question. Do the lemons have to be changed with regularity?
I don't know.
Do you need the same lemons for 2 years? Because
and this is the other part. He said there's a box of lemons.
Is it like Jiffy Lube? We got to like change your oil filter every couple of months?
I mean, so the lemons eventually will go bad. They'll eventually start to shrivel and dry up. Does the power dissipate? Because are we talking about, when you say the lemons need 2 years to work, are they the same lemons?
It worries me that our coach has the same philosophy as a girl I just watched on TikTok who cut a potato in half and put it in her Tesla because she spilled a protein shake and it really stank. And she says it worked. Like the potatoes absorbed the smell, according to her. So we got some TikTok life hacks on our team right now.
I will say this, having been exposed to a little bit of this via some family that I won't identify, at least he's not trying to get us to drink bleach and stuff like that. Like, at least that's not happening. Like, hopefully this is as far as he goes. It's kind of an energy thing.
Do the lemons absorb COVID?
That's a good question. I mean, if you buy, so does it matter?
I understand why he took the job. He just wants a new nation's kind of lemons. He's having a problem. He's used all the European citrus types. He needs to be closer to
Italy
Florida,
and Spain,
California.
Okay.
Like, he wants to know what our citrus can do for him.
We got any citrus people in the chat? Like, what kind of citrus can we bring to the table? I know that like Meyer lemon, that's a thing, right?
Yeah, key limes.
Well, he said lemons, not limes, and limes are brothers of lemons, but they're not lemons.
What am I thinking?
He said green lemons. Have you ever seen a green lemon in your life?
Yeah, it's called a lime.
No, that's what he said. They're different. They're
before they're ripe. Sure. I've seen a green lemon.
Lemons before they're ripe are green. I mean, yes, lemons before they're ripe are green. This is why my wife is confused, because she says limon and she means like I pull out a lemon. She goes, "Oh, look, it's a limon." And I go, "Well, no, don't you say limon for lime?" She's like, "Yeah, that's a limon." And no, she's like, "That's one that's not ripe yet." I was like, "No, it's a completely different."
I love that to learn that you've mansplained citrus to your wife.
I'm not mansplaining it to her. I'm telling her there's two different types of fruit. One is called a lemon and one's called a lime. In English, you call whatever you want.
Nate on this one. I'm going forward, Nate. This makes Jurgen sound good.
Hold on. Dude, hold on.
If Jurgen Klinsmann said this shit, what would we be saying right now? If it was Jurgen Klinsmann saying this.
Look. I was never against Jurgen. I mean, like, I never had any issues with Jurgen. Well, if Jurgen was doing things beyond, like, besides training and preparing the team, if he was having people come rip up phone books and do team building exercises instead of actually playing, then that was the problem. This, I expect Mauricio Pochettino is going to have training sessions.
But it makes me wonder, like, what can the other teams do when this is how your coach thinks? Yeah. What if Mexico, before we play in the Azteca, like they're like, what's the anti-lemon? Okay, so like they're grabbing strawberries and they're rubbing them all over the pitch beforehand to outdo his juju.
Can they cancel out the lemon energy? That is a good question.
Yes. What cancels lemon energy?
What cancels lemon energy? Maybe it is limes. Maybe limes do cancel.
No, it's got to be sweet because this is sour.
Oh, okay. So opposite of sweet is sour is sweet. So what's the sweetest fruit? Like a pineapple, like a very ripe pineapple?
Pineapple's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Somebody got another sweet.
It's got to be the opposite color too. It's got like pomegranate or something. Like
it's tart. Opposite color.
That's not it's just like there's a spectrum to green, yellow, orange. You know, like what's on the other side of the spectrum? Blueberries.
So is this something we lean into? Like now, do fans start bringing lemons to games?
No.
Like, are we?
Oh yeah, maybe. The more lemons, the more energy, right?
I don't know. I need explanations.
You've got if you could harness the energy of 50,000 people with lemons?
I'm wondering.
Like, but they got two hands, they can double it.
So again, he says he has a box of lemons. Number one, when he buys those lemons, do they have to be the same lemons to start working 2 years later?
What I love is that for $6 million a year, you could have a lemon guy.
We could have a lemon guy on staff.
He's got lemon on staff.
We got a lemon coach.
I need to find out who his lemon guy is. Again, I told Pablo the other day I needed him on the case of finding what wine they gave him. The next thing for Pablo after that is researching
the lemons.
What's his lemon hookup?
Now it's the lemon hookup. And this is the thing. Like, if we're gonna pay for a dedicated set piece coach who barely gave us anything, I would rather spend that money on a lemon coach to make sure our energy is good.
Plus, what we didn't talk about, think how good the stadium would smell. If
I mean,
everybody has some
amazing.
lemons,
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
but you know what's
Amazing.
going to happen when the result goes the wrong way, right?
Oh my gosh. Look, can we
Project that.
design the lemon head hat for the national team fans to wear to games?
Like
a
from
la
the candy?
cheese head? Yeah, like the lemon head. Yeah, well,
Oh,
just
like
a big
cheese,
lemon.
like okay, I get you mean like a cheese head from the good Packers.
Yeah, like a cheese head, like
Mm.
the Packers. Yeah, like we get a big. Everybody starts wearing lemons to games.
Man,
And
I'm telling you, dude, I think we're gonna have more games in California and Florida because the proximity to the citrus.
I mean, you would
industry-
think that he would angle for that. He'd be like,
Yeah,
guys,
dude.
like Matt, we have to play close to the lemon. Like, okay,
there would never
more-
be a snow
No,
game
no.
like in Colorado. Hell
Here's
no.
the question: more energy from a lemon in a box, or in the hands of a fan, or in the hands of a lemon coach, or on the tree? Which has more
the
raw
tree's giving life.
energy?
So because it's about filter, right? It's
or
absorbing.
sucking up? It's absorbing. It's
So
absorbing.
the question is, if it's still attached to the tree, is the tree going to take it out of it and redistribute it into the ground through the root system, and it's available to take more?
Well, so I don't. Yeah, right. Does the lemon need to be detached from the
It's
tree in order
it's
to
the cycle
gain
of energy.
the absorbing properties? Like that's what I need. So
Are we
again,
giving too many good ideas that people are going to steal from us right now?
probably. We need to start. Nobody make the lemon head thing. That's ours. We did that. That's the best soccer.
I'll be
show
honest with you.
joint.
I'm probably not going to do anything with it. So
No?
I mean, I would love to be like it's courtesy of written somewhere on it. Like
Courtesy of? No,
Yeah.
man. We get a big BSS across the back. or
Wait, is this
whatever.
Vince from Toronto? Is in here? We lose one game to Canada, and I feel he's
Oh
up
yeah,
in
he
here.
shows up. Of course
God
he is, rubbing
dang
it in.
I haven't seen him in months. We
Man,
lose one
people don't
bad
like
game
fun.
to Toronto to
People
Canada.
don't like fun. They want to rain on our
Thank
parades.
God they can't call in anymore.
We want to talk about lemons, and you guys want us to. Okay.
They got no lemons in Canada.
Look, it's pretty obvious that Mauricio needs to be stocking up because the negative energy around this team is pretty high right now, and I think it was best exemplified by Christian Pulisic sounding like somebody had stolen his puppy after the game. Like it was pretty dark there, Jared. I mean, it's a fluky goal to give up to draw New Zealand. You had to bring Pulisic off
It was
the
still
bench
better.
to
It was
salvage.
still a better game than the first game was. I mean, obviously, it's not Canada. Canada's a better team than New Zealand, but
Yes.
I would say that the activity was better. Unfortunately, I think one of the biggest losers over the two games, Yunus Musa. Yunus Musa,
yeah, my boy
was-
Eunice.
like coughing stuff up like it's COVID again.
Everybody though. Let's be.
No,
and
it's
this is
not
the thing,
everybody. I don't think that's revisionist history. I think that Lund had a very good two games. I think he had a good two games. I think
Okay.
Mark McKenzie and Chris Richards, despite the thing at the end there, had a good game against New Zealand. I think Aiden Morris had a good tournament a good window over the two games.
Yeah,
as well.
Aiden Morris is my guy. Like I want him to succeed. I want him to make. Like I'm a big fan of his for years now.
He's
And
Tyler Adams with better long range passing. I feel like
He's a much better passer going forward than Tyler Adams.
Yeah.
Much better.
I think
passer.
Tyler Adams is still a better defender, but I mean, I think Aiden Morris is
Oh.
very good at getting into the lanes. And
Tyler,
what I like
Tyler
about
Adams,
Aiden Morris
we
is
said
that
this. Look, Tyler Adams is Gary Payton, right?
Mm.
He's a lockdown defender
Yeah.
from that position, but you give up a lot going forward if you can't turn those turnovers into something. And Aiden Morris, whatever you. Okay, so look, KY wants to say he coughed up the ball more than Musa.
a
I
couple
think that's
times. What
because he
I
was
like about him,
on the ball more than
but
Musa.
you know what Aiden Morris does? He gets the ball back. And there's coaches all over this world that will tell you the difference between two players is if you're going to lose it, he runs and he gets the ball back.
Yeah,
Watch
but-
him.
but-
Watch how he responds to losing the ball, and watch how Yunus Musa responds to losing the ball. Yunus Musa deflates; his shoulders go down. Like, God dang it, that just happened, and it takes him a few seconds to realize, oh crap, the ball's going the other way. Aiden Morris is on his horse because no player is going to be perfect in the midfield. How you
No.
react to those situations is
Yes.
important, and he has
Right.
that.
This is why. So recently, Kevin De Bruyne had some comments about passing stats, and I think what he was saying was very obvious to anybody who understands soccer. But he felt the need to kind of say, passing percentage is a nonsense stat for a player like me or for a midfielder like me. Now he didn't say it for every midfielder or every player, but he basically said, I'm not somebody who needs to be judged on what percentage of passes I complete because I'm going to make aggressive passes.
pass.
I'm going to do things that might end up with the ball going the wrong place or turning over because I'm trying to make something happen, right? And I think Aiden Morris is no Kevin De Bruyne. I'm not putting him on that, but I do think there's something to that. That there's a utility in a player like Morris, and I am not advocating for Aiden Morris to be a first 11 player for the U.S. men's national team in meaningful matches if they were happening tomorrow.
But he looked better than Johnny Cardoso.
But he did things on both sides of the ball that I think are very encouraging.
Yeah.
And look, let's also be honest about this. And I think with Pochettino in frame, this is going to take on a different kind of meaning. Everybody, there's I don't think there's two camps, but there's definitely a camp of national team fans who don't want to see any MLS players in the U.S. men's national team. Well, Morris is not an he's
They
not
got
an
beat
MLS
by a
player
Canada
anymore.
team with 14 MLS players.
Well, okay, let's not bring up facts like they matter. Let's just go with that thing.
Sorry, that was the ABC moderator in me. My bad.
Got to fact check me, bro? What's up? Why are you so biased against me with your fact checking? Yeah, I think.
Why is the truth biased against me?
I think that Morris showed signs of being a good player for the future. That's as far as I'm going to go. And I say the same thing. By the way, say the same thing about Lund.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say that, and I'll say the same thing about Fossey. It's one game,
for
one
sure.
game. Can't really judge.
All positive on that, and they're making you feel like, I could see more of that and be okay. Especially Lund is that I think he's the most ready out of those three players. I think I don't think he has a chance of beating out Anthony Robinson for the position, but unlike Scally, if I saw Lund in the lineup, I'm not worried. Scally worries me a little bit still.
Are we going to give Christopher Lund, Christopher? What do we say? Chris? What is it? Christopher? Somebody help me. I don't know how to say his name.
Is it because there's a K? Is that why it's messing you up?
It's not Christopher. There's two F's in there. Like, am I supposed to say it like Christopher? I don't know if it's Christopher. He's not, his name is not of an English origin. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Is he the oldest looking young player that we have at this point? Doesn't he?
He does have that. He's got a little bit of that. But what I do like about going back to Aiden Morris, and I'm going to bring Luca De La Torre into this as well, because I think he showed well over these two games too. What they both are able to demonstrate is that certain games call for certain things, and they both have certain aspects that are useful in certain situations. So, for example, why did Luca De La Torre look good in the first game? The first game, when he came in, what did it need? It needed to be settled. It needed to have a time. It needed someone to take pressure off the ball and let people move into positions. Luca De La Torre doesn't do anything extravagant, but he does simple things well, and he controls the pace of movement of the ball. That is something that the U.S. did not. No one felt like they could be comfortable for 1 to 2 passes, turning out of pressure on the half turn. Little things like that matter. And that game needed that. What Aiden Morris can bring is that fight and that intensity that was missing in the first game. You saw it when those two players came in. They both brought what that game needed. It needed intensity, and it needed someone that could be calm on the ball. When those two players came into the game changed in Canada. Aiden Morris gets the shot right from the beginning, because I think to reward that and realizing that whole team needed more of it. And I think he showed well. But again, when Luca De La Torre comes in the game, it's just very calm in the midfield when he's there. So I think neither one of them is a starter, but there's a reason why you would have both of them in your pool and in your squad if you're going into a tournament or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's good to have options. I'd like there to be a clear idea of us, we were on MMA for a while, right? And then that kind of broke up. Tyler got hurt. I'm
still not off of it.
You're not off of MMA?
We have to be off of it. I don't think I'm off of it as conceptually. I think there's still, if you had all players in the pool available and healthy, oh man, Gio messes it up, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess Musa been on the down.
But here's the other thing, right? And I don't want this to sound mean, because I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just speaking from a national team perspective. But I can't trust Tyler Adams to be in my team. That's pretty clear.
You should trust him to be in your team.
I can't trust him to be healthy, to be in my team.
My scenario, I was telling you he was, but okay.
No, I'm just saying in general. So we're talking about midfield formations or midfield configuration. We're talking about players like Aiden Morris, players like Luca De La Torre, players like Johnny Cardoso, how they fit in. I can't trust that Tyler Adams is going to be healthy. and I can't trust that Gio Reyna is going to be healthy in any given window. Now,
Yeah.
again, anybody can get hurt. Like anybody, obviously, Serginho Dest got hurt long term. Obviously, we've got Tim Weah also out. Like it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
But those players in particular, those two guys, it's hard to conceive of a best 11 for the U.S. men's national team in meaningful games, and we are still a ways away from anything that actually matters with those guys in it, as long as they have been missing so much in recent times. And maybe that's unfair to Gio because he did have a run there for a little while.
I don't think anything's unfair to Gio at this point. I think
No?
everything bit of criticism he gets at this point is okay.
Like
Because
criticism.
yeah.
Criticism for what? He got
Or
hurt.
opinion,
That's not his fault.
opinion you have about him. Like
Okay.
I think he has opened himself up to that by not having a club situation that is in any way positive across multiple years and not doing anything that making any good decisions about getting it right. And yet also showing well for the U.S. I understand anyone who's either down or up on Gio Reyna, to be honest with you.
Okay,
It just
fair.
depends which version
Fair.
you're choosing to watch.
Okay. I will point out that there was a loan offered, or Bochum reached out to try to get a loan done before the window closed. And it was Dortmund that said, nah, we're not doing that. That's not something we're interested in. And I don't think that it was Gio that said no. I think it was Dortmund that said no.
I do
So
think the coach is actually up on him. I think he just needs to get healthy and
Nori
get some
Sahin
more
likes him. He likes him. I don't. By the way, I don't buy this. I don't buy this. Gio is not a hungry soccer player. I don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't think that's his issue. I think that he does have a streak of, for lack of a better word, I mean, you could say prima donna. You could say he's got a prima donna streak.
I think he's working on it though. I really do.
Okay. I mean, right now he's not part of the picture, right?
It's got to be humbling to go through what he's going through right now. Extremely humbling for a guy who probably had so much self-belief and people telling him how good he is.
Well,
and actually showing flashes of it at a time as well. This has to be a humbling experience, and I'm just worried that whether or not he can recover emotionally from this and have edge again.
Well, so this is interesting because I think you could see Gio, even though there is that relationship problem with Berhalter, which probably should have meant Berhalter didn't come back for a second cycle, in addition to whatever issues he might have had in terms of performance. But I think you could look at Gio and say that's the guy emblematic of a generation that is a little spoiled, that doesn't really appreciate what it means to play for the national team.
Yeah, not everyone in that generation has a dad that's Claudio Reyna, though. I mean, that's
what does that mean? I mean, Gio has an example.
I think he probably expects more on a platter as a result of what he grew up around and who people were. He got advantages other players didn't get.
I see what you're saying. But there still seems to be this sense, right? This is the overarching theme of the U.S. men's national team, and this is why people were, asking for. We had the whole controversy.
When Christian Pulisic's
right?
why is there? Oh, go ahead.
Well, Christian, there was the controversy over the fact that these players were backing Greg, and then when Greg gets fired and Copa goes wrong, they're all saying we need somebody to come in and be tough and push us and not whatever, right? So. And people aren't allowing for the possibility the players all recognized that they had made a mistake and changed their minds. I guess that's not allowed or whatever. But now we're at a point where this is the overarching theme, that these guys are spoiled, that they were comfortable, that they need to be pushed, that you need to clear house, you need to hold everybody accountable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right?
Well, that makes me wonder, what's the number one thing that you're anxious to see in terms of how Pochettino is going to manage this team? What's something that you really want waiting to see? How I wonder what Pochettino thinks of that, or how he's going to administer around that. Because I have one.
Okay. Well, I don't know that I have anything in particular other than I'm curious to see how a guy who's never coached a national team handles the notion of form, handles the notion of fit, handles the notion of picking guys, whether he sticks with them because they're his guys, and every coach does this, right? Every coach has their guys. The question is whether or not you put those guys first ahead of players that maybe are performing better. But then again,
I agree with you.
How does he view form, club to country?
That's the part that I'm mostly just see. It's what is his requirement for a national team player? Is he going more the old school route? If you're not playing for your club team, you're not playing here. That there was a time where That's the way things were. If you're not playing your club, well, guess what? You've got a team full of players where they are at clubs, but they are not mainstays at their
Right?
clubs.
Sure.
They are also ran. Like, is his advice to them, you need to get someplace where you're playing?
It's
Or
the same,
would you
but
rather have them be at Juventus and have a top level experience, but not be a top level performer?
I mean, do you want them training with Champions League level players, or playing in a team that's made up of players that are not that level, right? Or in a league that's not that level. It's not really about the team; it's about the league, right?
Yeah.
And this is something we don't know yet. And maybe he'll answer these questions tomorrow in some form.
And he's gonna have a perspective that no U.S. soccer coach has ever had before, because
Absolutely. Absolutely.
he has coached those elite teams and knows what it's like when that 13th player behind the scenes, when you're the 13th player on the roster and you're not getting into the 11, but you're there every day and you're doing the work.
Yeah.
Is that valuable to him, or is it no? I'd rather you be at the second division playing and being a star in the second division. Like, it'll be interesting to see what his guidance is, and it's gonna be different for every player probably based on
There's
who they
been
are.
this consistent churn. Our national team, and I can't compare, I don't have the data to compare it to other countries, and it depends, right, on ambition, where you rank, size of your player pool, the general age of your culture, whatever. But our national team program has always been marked by the search for the next guy. And that could be the young player, right? It could be pushing Christian Pulisic into the national team at 18 years old, right? That could be one form of this. Donovan, Dempsey, every team brings through young players. Clearly, every national team tries to do that. Lamine Yamal took the Euros by storm, and he's like, what, 17?
Yep.
So every team does that. But I do think there's this notion that the guys we have aren't good enough. It's kind of always in the back of everybody's mind. And what that means is you're never comfortable with what the player pool, the roster looks like. You're never like, yep, we're pretty good right now. It always feels like, oh, well, that's too many MLS guys, or we got guys playing in the second division, or maybe there's another dual national out there that we need to bring in. And Berhalter, and I think people sometimes see this as a positive, although not a lot of people are giving him credit for anything right now. Berhalter was pretty aggressive with capping new guys. Lots of guys got capped under Greg Berhalter. Lots of guys got called in under Greg. Lots and lots of guys.
He
new
was
guys,
charged
young
with
guys.
turning over a system. That's not what Pochettino's being tasked to do.
No, but this is my question, because even before that, not Bruce, but Jurgen. Jurgen was dual national German-American, recruiter. Bob was bringing through guys too, looking for those dual nationals. Aaron Johansson was that era. Mix Diskerud was that era. Like, these guys were not sort of the obvious choices for the U.S. men's national team. They had to be found. They had to be looked for. And I wonder if Poch is going to do that. Like, I wonder if Poch is going to be thinking, I've got to turn over this player pool, or if he's thinking, if he settles on 25 to 30 guys, these are my guys.
I think it's going to be the latter. And here's the thing. Let's not make it sound like he doesn't have some good pieces. Like, he has what is potentially the best left back in the Premier League so far this season.
Yes.
Anthony Robinson has probably been the best left back in the Premiership. Like,
by the way, and Jedi's been good for us. I'm not saying he hasn't, but
sure,
this is the Johnny Cardoso thing as well. And Johnny's still young, and I know he's only been in Spain for a little while. It hasn't translated.
Yeah.
For Johnny, right? It hasn't been like, oh, Johnny's a Real Betis player. He's playing in La Liga. He's got the technical league. Boom. It's good for the U.S. No.
He's jinxed when it comes to the national team. Like, he can look very, very good at the club level, but there's something about that leap to the national team level where it's just he doesn't seem to be able to rise to it, or the pace is wrong, or the chemistry is wrong.
Somebody said that I think it was Johnny. Somebody earlier in the chat said something about Johnny having Timmy Chandler syndrome. And I think it's way too early to say that. Let's be fair to Johnny.
He doesn't like the heat.
But there's something off about it, right? Or at least so far. And again, I don't even know if it's fair to judge that, but that's what Pochettino has to do. That's what he's getting paid $6 million a year to figure out.
Yeah.
Right? And again, this is also a very important point from Jason Hoover. We don't have a lot of time to do roster building. Got to find the best 23 to 26 guys and roll with them. But what if that means that somebody emerges in 2025, in the summer of 2025, late 2025, that takes some league by storm? And I don't expect it to be the Premier League or the Bundesliga or La Liga or whatever, but let's say somebody reaches new heights improves and they're not in that 23 to 26. How much pressure will there be to change things up when we don't have competitive games in which to test them?
That's very true. The competitive games part is definitely true. I think the club. That's why club form is going to play a big role in this. But I do think there's going to be a couple of names, as there is every World Cup cycle, that you're surprised 2 years out, like, oh, that guy made it. But I think with this roster, it's going to be the goalkeeper position. Yeah, I think Patrick Schulte. We forgot to mention his name when his performance in the first game. I thought he looked very, very good. I think
we probably would have had to like seed Montana to Canada or something if Patrick Schulte wasn't out there saving shots.
There's probably a center back at this point that we'll have to consider. Like, it's not a position that's got tons of depth.
Don't you think that center back is a weird one, because we either got guys hurt or guys are like 3/4 there, but we're not. So CCV comes to mind. Austin Trusty, who's barely had a look, comes to mind.
Yeah.
We just saw McKenzie get in. He's not a guy that's had a heavy look, right? He's been
I always felt that McKenzie's undersized, though, for the position.
Okay, depends on how you want to play and some other things, but yeah, like that's a thing, right? There are lots of players who are sort of almost there, but they're not obviously jumping out and like, oh well, we got to get them in the team, and they're going to be the next one up. There's none of that.
Yeah, it's just funny.
Lamine Yamal. There's nobody like Lamine Yamal.
You look at the U20s, the Olympic team. There's no one that stands out. It's like, oh, that's the guy that's going to be a big player in 2 years. I mean, except for maybe one player that wasn't at the tournament. You know, like there's like with why am I blanking on the Salt Lake player?
Oh, Diego Luna.
Yeah,
by the way, what about your guy in LA? What about your center back? Yeah,
Jalen Neal he's progressing, and I think it's a really good thing he's playing with Yoshida. He's going to learn a lot. But in terms of being ready for the World Cup, he'd have to go to the Europe soon. I don't see him making that team out of the Galaxy. He's still raw. I think there's some Galaxy fans will tell you he's not good enough. I'm not in that camp. I think that he is good enough. I think his ball control and decision making is good. I just don't think he's physical enough yet. But
like, we could go down the list. Like, that's the thing we also do, right? We just watched this team play 2 games. Very few players looked good or did enough to make us feel like, oh, Poch is definitely going to be tapping that guy. And when we're looking for other alternatives, or we're looking for the next guy up. I mean, again, and as Jason said, 2 years is not really enough time. 2 years without competitive games is not really enough time.
You know what's crazy is that a guy who barely had a national team career would walk into the center back position right now, and that's Chad Marshall. Marshall barely had a national. I mean, it just gives you an idea of what level. We were talking in the Bessie Slack. If you want to be a member, go on Patreon. The Bessie Slack today, we were talking about the 2010 versus the 2022 World Cup teams. And I was saying the 2010 World Cup team had one of the best back fours the U.S. has ever put out. You can't touch it. When you think about, you think of Trundle on the right, Gooch and Demerit in the middle, and Bocanegra on the left. You know, like we were embarrassed for center backs at that time because hell, we had Bocanegra playing left back. That's not to mention Chad Marshall's three-time defender of the year at the same time in MLS.
He wasn't quite there yet. 2010,
2010, 2014 in that range right there, but still
it was a little bit after that. But yeah,
at the time we also had Clarence Goodson was made that squad.
Clarence,
yeah, I mean, when he was in Europe, he was okay, but it just. The dearth of center backs that are ready to play at the top international level right now, outside of Tim Ream, is surprising. Center back. So much the center back is a mental game and positioning and thinking. And
I'm hoping here that Austin Trusty and Cameron Carter-Vickers play well together. I know Celtic has been desperately holding on to CCV.
Don't bring CCV back to the national team anytime soon. The dude is not good. He's like Johnny Cardozo. He can't play at the international level. Can you point to a good game he's ever had for the U.S.?
I can point to some not so bad games, maybe.
I can't point to any good ones.
Well then forget Cameron Carter-Vickers and tell me, and let's hope that Austin Trusty gets a chance to play Champions League soccer. And gets into a shop window, and we're talking next summer.
Fact check. The ABC News coming from the chat right now.
All right.
Marshall was MLS Defender of the Year in 2008, 2009, and 2014. Okay. 2-time defending Defender of the Year going to 2010. Couldn't sniff the national team. Now, granted, he may have been injured. He got injured a lot. I'm not sure what his injury status was going into 2010, but he was never a stalwart at the national team in any of those years.
Yeah. That 2010 World Cup team, I know Gooch got injured in 2009 in the Costa Rica game. Was he in that 2010 World Cup
Yeah, we
team? Are
looked
you
it up
sure
today.
about that?
We looked it up today.
He played in those games
I don't know if he played
because that's different than that.
I'd have
Because
to see.
you're
I was
making
looking
it
at the
out to
roster that
be.
was there.
I know Demerit started in that World Cup. I know
Yeah,
he was
and I
back there.
know Buchanega started as well, but I thought it was at left back. If not,
I
it's
don't-
Jonathan Bornstein at left back, and it takes a hit then. Still better than our back four now, though.
Who was the guy who played right back and some center back? Was in the Confederation Cup team. Played the ball to Dempsey that ended up being a goal against Brazil. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Man, I don't.
Who was
off
on
the
the
top
right?
of my head.
Somebody. This is escaping me. I should
Wasn't
know this
Marisa
player.
Do, was it? Because he played sometime at center
No.
back.
No.
Marvel Wynn? No.
No.
Who was
It
playing
was
right back?
the-
Charlo had that spot on lock. I can't remember anyone playing back then.
I'll think of it at some point. I'll remember the player's name, and then it'll come
Okay.
back to me, and then I'll just
And
randomly.
they played
spit
center
it
back
out.
as well, huh?
I thought he was more of a center back than a right back, but he ended up playing right back in that game. I remember him playing across from the right.
2009 Confederations Cup. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Which game?
Jonathan Spector. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Freddie.
I always think Jonathan Spector. Yeah, I guess he was a defender that played.
I
He
like
was
Septor better than Spector.
By the way,
as you
also
spelled
on
it,
the 2010 World Cup team. He was also on that 2010
was he?
World Cup.
Okay, Jonathan Spector. Yeah, I don't know. And that's a guy like where was he playing at the time? Do you remember where he was? He at Fulham or something like that? Or was
Well,
he
he started at Man U, and
he
then
was in the championship. I bet he was in the championship at the time.
he spent some time in the championship, and then he ended up in MLS for a while after that. And
but that was after the World Cup. Okay, interesting.
By
the way,
Jonathan Spector.
since you threw it out and the besties were talking about it, again, patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. We dropped a bonus on you last week. So if you missed it, go listen
Charlton
to
Athletic on loan, then West Ham,
There you
then
go.
Birmingham before going to
West Ham.
Orlando.
I remember him at West Ham, Jonathan.
101 appearances for West Ham.
The chat right now, and this is the benefits of being a part of the show live. Who wins 2010 U.S. men's national team, 2022 U.S. men's national team? That's the question.
I think the 2022 team is better, but I don't think they win. The 2010 team has the ability to be pragmatic and execute a game plan in a way that the 2022 team cannot do.
Okay, well, so this is an interesting thing. We have a couple minutes left here, right? And we spent a lot of time talking about lemons, and I enjoyed it. I think it was right. I think it was a good thing to do, to talk about the energy that lemons can absorb.
My energy is so clean right now.
I mean, I'm gonna go buy some lemons as soon as I'm done with
I'm
this.
drinking peach high noon. Right? Why does it need lemon?
We're gonna absorb some negative energy with some lemons, but we haven't really touched on the tactical part of this, right? And I think that there's this kind of this in between feeling about Pochettino. Like, I don't think anybody holds him up as a tactical genius. Like, he's not Pep Guardiola.
Yeah,
but he clearly has an understanding of the game at a tactical level that we would all agree has been utilized at a higher level than Greg Berhalter in Major League Soccer and whatever. So, and there's also the element of okay, how does he want to play, right? And we know that pressing is sort of baked in to everything now, and Pochettino is a proponent of a pressing game. But how do you imagine that kind of coming out with this team? Because I do think it's personnel dependent, right? So you can say, he presses, but go ahead.
I think what hopefully my hope of what he can bring that perhaps Berhalter could not is I think being able to more clearly define the roles that players should be playing on the field. I feel oftentimes with Berhalter, he was trying to execute a system that not everyone understood. And I think micromanaging what to do in every scenario you could potentially be in on the field. Well, we're in this scenario, in this part of the field, you should be like this and like this. I'm putting words in his mouth, but this is what I'm getting from what I watch. It just seems like at certain times, the team was lost on what their identity and shape should be. And I'm hoping that with Pochettino, he keeps it simpler, especially at international level where it's not your club team. You're not working on these things over all the time. I'm hoping he has the ability to clearly define roles. It's just one or two set scenarios of what you should be doing, and then it's easier to execute.
Okay. I mean, he at Chelsea, he was kind of playing the same way everybody does now with his attacking setup, right? We had Enzo Fernandez in the midfield.
Son.
No, I'm talking about Chelsea,
Oh,
not
Chelsea.
Spurs.
Excuse me. I apologize.
But yeah, I mean, look, I'm just trying to
I
remember.
can't gain. I can't gain anything from Chelsea's time at Chelsea because Chelsea is constantly just a rotating. I'd much rather look at his time at Tottenham or something like that to see what he can do.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
that's also a team that did more with less, and that's what he's being asked to do with the U.S. team.
he did
Now,
more.
granted, Harry Kane's hard to call him less, but you know what I mean. Like,
Well, Harry Kane was the best player, but in that team by a mile. But they had, and they had Son. But after that, it kind of was like, okay, this is a collection of pretty good
no one
to
got more out of Dele Alli than he did.
above average, Premier League players. Yeah, and yeah, I guess that's something we're gonna have to see, and maybe he'll lay out his vision in that press conference tomorrow, and maybe when we get together next week, we'll have something to talk about from that press conference. What did Mauricio Pochettino say? Is he going to identify individual players? Right? Is he going to talk about certain guys? There's reports out there that Fabrizio Romano telling the podcast over at Golazo or whatever that he really likes Yunus Musa. That he wanted to bring Yunus Musa to Chelsea.
I like him in theory as well. Just don't ask him to pick up the ball 10 feet off the back four and start the movement. That's not his job. And if you watch with the places that he lost the ball, it was when he had to receive the ball facing his own goal and turn. Mm-hmm. That's a thing that is just not Yunus Musa's game. His game is get the ball at his feet, facing the opponent's goal with Green in front of him. Beat one guy. Yeah. That's his thing. Beat one guy when you're facing the opponent's goal. And when you're having Musa be the guy that's collecting, he and Aiden Morris and both he and Johnny Cardoso were playing too close together. There was not enough space between them, that they were crowding each other. And I just think, like, man, I've seen this at the AC Milan level too. When he comes into those games, receiving the ball with his back to goal, he tries to do too much. He tries to play like he does in the open field when he doesn't have the space. And it's just the decision making is just a player that needs to be further upfield than where he was playing for the U.S.
Okay, well, I mean, but that's the complication, right? Is that we have a bunch of, I mean, every player's imperfect.
But that's also why MMA works for us, because Musa's not being asked to do that in the MMA setup. You know, he's being asked to be an option for Tyler Adams, to be an option for Weston McKennie. Like, they're getting him the ball in better positions to use him the way he's supposed to be used.
Well, I mean,
that was not happening this last week.
He's playing wall passes to fullbacks and stuff like that. Like, he's not having to turn on the ball and try to do something.
He's just not an every midfielder. He's not an every midfielder. And I think that we think like, oh, he's a good midfielder, so he should be able to do everything. I don't think that's the case with him. He's not a Swiss Army knife. The guy's got a very clear role he needs to play if you're going to play him.
All right. Look, I don't have 4 and 5 because it always feels ridiculous to play them if we had them, but give me a DEFCON. With the news that Pochettino's definitely in, he's taking the pictures. Let's again look.
Oh,
Mauricio Pochettino looking like his wife just caught him looking at pornography in the office.
He's hiding the laptop behind the jersey. What you can't see right now is his pants are off.
A little happier with Matt Crocker, Joe Cocker there. Just okay.
Still covering the crotch though.
What's your DEFCON?
I'm at 4, maybe even 5, to be honest with you, because for a number of different reasons. One, new coach. We'll see what he can do. Good coach, right hire for the job. 2, to be honest, it was a B team. It really was a B team. And I'm trying not to put too much pressure on the fact that
you don't want to do the rage thing that I'm seeing everywhere now.
Oh, for the 90 minutes I was watching it, I was in that place.
Okay,
but I now have the moment to look back on and be like,
I'm just saying, and I know they are paid to give an opinion, and I can tell you from working, in certain circumstances.
WNBC.
Say that you are asked, you are told, you know what you need to do? Have a strong opinion.
Oh,
you can't have a weak opinion. Gotta have, not you. I'm not telling you.
That's your job. I'm supposed to be the sensible one.
Is that how our dynamic works? I don't know. My bosses have told me this, right? And I'm sure that there are people behind the scenes, bosses, people who are influencing former U.S. internationals like DeMarcus Beasley, a guy I love and respect, Hercules Gomez, who's also on television, and telling them like, and I do think something happens too, right? When you grow out of being part of a group, and you still think fondly, and you're still a member of that group, it's a fraternity situation for these guys. That when you see things change or look different or not be as successful and whatever, like it's very easy to go to that. Oh, they just don't care like we did. Like we just don't.
I saw
care.
DeMarcus Beasley speak on this weekend. I think he was right when responding to Christian Pulisic's press conference or when he was spoken to post game,
yeah,
where he was talking about we need to find that edge, and DeMarcus Beasley's like, well, when did you lose it? Because he's like, we left it. It was on the field when we stopped on our generation, and he's right, Jason. He's right.
No, that's old guy stuff. This is all old guy stuff. It is. It's 100% old guy stuff, right? The world changes, and DeMarcus Beasley doesn't play now, right? And his experience is different than Pulisic's or anybody who's in this team now. It's not to excuse these players for not playing with passion or not caring.
So you're saying you saw the same amount of fight with that team this weekend as you saw from those.
First of all, how do you measure that?
Running.
So
fighting for the ball.
You think because they didn't run and fight for the ball against New Zealand in a friendly that they don't care?
More Canada.
Okay, in two friendlies when they have an interim head coach whose name is Mikey, like there's so many things here that I think it's so easy to go to the extreme on this. Did they show fight the way I wanted them to? No. And I was raging watching the 90 minutes against both of these teams.
Well, it's also fair to say that two of the players that would have that fight, Tyler Adams, and McKinney, not in the team, but still, like, why can't Haji Wright have some fight? Brendan Aronson and Christian Pulisic's the only ones out there that had fight. And
wait a second, revisionist history is in the building. DeMarcus Beasley, Hercules Gomez, Tim Howard, these guys all played on teams where the fight was the thing because the talent wasn't there or because they didn't have the ability to dictate terms.
Exclusive for?
They're not. But how can you measure? How can anybody who played on a team where you had the ball 30% of the time measure themselves against a team that has the ball a lot more or is doing different things or trying different things or plays in a different era or in a different game where pressing is much more of a factor now than it was? I mean, there's just so many things. These are just examples. There's so many different things about the game that are happening now to when DeMarcus Beasley or Hercules Gomez or anybody who's on television. And again, I like those guys, right? I understand.
On the record, I disagree with you. The fight is not there, and you don't. When's the last time you saw them put a Mexican player on their ass just to do it?
When they won the Nations League. I don't know.
No, just send a message.
Weston McKennie was getting mixed up with Mexicans all the time.
And I told you, Weston McKennie gets a pass.
Oh my God. Gets a pass. So this is a sliding scale. Some guys have fight, but other guys don't. Therefore, nobody has fight.
Absolutely. The team in general.
This is one of those. This is not a measurable thing. Fight is not measurable. You can't come to me and say this team has a lot less fight because you cannot measure it. This is just perception.
I just can't measure it for you. I can measure it for myself.
No, you can't.
Sure,
you can't. No,
I have eyeballs.
Because you're a human being with built-in biases.
It's like saying that person's beautiful. Might not be to you, but they are to me.
All right. This is ridiculous. I just think it's way over the top. This whole they have no fight. It's the easiest thing to scream and yell about, television or otherwise.
Doesn't make it wrong
on the radio.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy. It doesn't make it wrong though. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's not true or.
But it's so it is. There is no nuance or actual attempt to understand what's going on. Nobody's trying to think through. Hey, what's really happening here? Is just yelling about fight. It's just yelling about, oh, they're not trying as hard. Can I prove that to you? No. Can you tell me what's in their head? No. Can you? Oh, they didn't run as much.
Well,
what are you comparing that to?
In some ways, in terms
you're going to go back.
Distance,
hold on. Let me get the tape of USA New Zealand. And you know what we'll do? We'll go ahead and pick a random game from 2007. How much running is in? Oh, do they not run as much? Oh my gosh. I mean,
how about this? Fouls caused. I mean, the USA wasn't fouling Canada.
Wait, fight is measured by how many times you kick your opponent?
Sure.
That's what we're doing?
Sure.
Why do you want to play dinosaur soccer?
This is not hitting a person.
Oh my God.
It literally, if you look it up in the dictionary, that's what it would be.
I'm just asking you and everybody else who is yelling about this to also add something more than just, oh, we don't have the mentality. It's a cop-out to go straight
I'll
to
say
that.
Fight and grit.
All right. Those are synonyms. Synonyms.
Don't use big words.
All right. I think we've done a job of some type. I think something happened. Can I ask a favor? Can I ask a
Sure.
favor?
I won't fight you.
You're not going to fight me? Oh,
Mm-mm.
you might when you find out that you know
Oh.
I'm adding another partner to my stable. I
Does
told
your
you
wife
this.
know?
You know, don't not that kind of partner. Different
Oh,
kind
my
of
bad.
partner. No. I am soon this month kicking off a 3 times a week show on YouTube called Morning Kick Around. It's
Well,
me
you
and a
got
guy named
leading
Robert
with that.
Kerr.
You did the 59th minute. Why did you lead with that,
I
my
forgot,
friend?
and then your internet went down, and I couldn't. I had to
My
fix all that.
internet.
Yeah,
So
definitely
one of
was
us
your-
decided to try to broadcast in 1080p, and it wasn't
I
me.
checked, and everybody said I look good, and they were like, "What happened to Jared? Where'd he
Well,
go?"
you just wanted to say everyone said you look good.
No, not they know what I'm saying is I was here. I did. Somebody did comment on my haircut. Thank you very much. Got a fade today. Feeling good about it. Yeah. I don't have the height Jared has, but you know, yeah, not quite soccer morning, Vince, but something similar-ish to soccer morning. A little bit more of me responding to some things happening, but I want to make sure that it is American centric.
Where can someone get that, Jason?
And so people who miss my old radio show, which I'll do this again because I can.
WNBC.
Oh, you mean
WNBC.
with the soccer eagle?
Sure. No, the American Focus show.
Oh, okay.
Right? The United States of Soccer doesn't exist anymore. Now I do WTF with one all day every day, and I'm enjoying that. And that's a very, very fun show. And I didn't call you by his name today, so I think I should get points.
You've
for that.
gone a month now, I think.
Yeah.
It's
So
almost like you're
applaud.
professional. It's
Good
almost
job,
like
Jason.
you're
You
professional.
didn't get your wires crossed for a little while there. It's on YouTube. Morning Kick Around. Search for it. Morning Kick Around. We've got a little intro video, so now it'll actually show up in your search. And if you subscribe, that helps a lot.
I call it
So,
morning rondo.
Nobody. Okay, maybe, but that's more insidery.
What I don't
on-
like, I'll tell you what I don't like. Every show or concept you've thought of in the last 15 years,
Oh,
who have you come to workshop ideas for names with?
You about you? Like, yeah,
Yes,
I came to you.
did
Yeah.
not workshop this one. Did workshop this one? with
You're
me.
right.
It pisses
You're
me
right.
off that you don't need me
You're right.
anymore.
No, it's not that I don't need you.
You didn't
It's-
always take my concepts, but we've always workshopped together.
We have workshopped. You're
And
right. I probably should
so
have
I'm
brought
not
you
mad
in.
that you have a new partner. I'm
Okay.
mad that you have someone you now trust more.
Well, it was entirely me. I mean, I didn't trust him at all on it. If that makes you
Oh.
feel any better. I just
Okay, a little
decided
bit,
what to
actually.
do because I'm a dictator over there. I can't push you around, but that's
I
not
don't know. You
how
just
it is.
tried. Tell me I can't measure fight. Like, what's your unit of kilofights?
Look,
Kilofists?
Well, we'll just do a little live workshop. I mean, this is more about me checking with you.
Uh-huh.
What do you think of the rooster and the soccer ball as a concept for a morning soccer show?
Is that what you chose?
Yeah, it's a rooster.
I knew
with
the
a
name.
soccer
I hadn't
ball.
seen the logo yet.
Yeah, it's a rooster with a soccer
What,
ball. It's
isn't
kind of the
that
main.
Tottenham?
You know, Tottenham has it. No, that's not a rooster.
Is that the
that's
French
a,
Football Federation?
That's a cockerel or something. France has a rooster, but they're not doing it like we're doing it. I'm just saying.
What
like,
are you calling it? The cock and balls?
I'm not, but now that you said that, I probably should.
See?
This is why I
Better
should
name.
workshop. This is
More than
no,
cock and balls.
You
Wait,
think that's
which
getting?
one of you
Hold on.
Which one of you the balls?
You think that's getting past YouTube? That I'm calling a show cock and balls? You really think that would work for me?
Sure. It's right there on the screen. It's nothing dirty about it. You chose that. Like, but I want to know which one of you the cock, which one of you's the balls.
Little bit more. Morning Kick Around 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Also, a couple of cool things that we're trying to work on is some segments that are going to be a little bit more shareable than just this whole long show that we do. Get to know certain parts of the American soccer towns that you don't think about as soccer hotbeds. We're going to learn about those.
Plus, I gave you a great idea in last week's bonus show.
What's that? What did you
The
give me?
geographic teams.
Oh yeah, that got a little in the weeds, a little dense.
That's
I
because we
think.
didn't prep.
That's true. Vince has got to stop calling up old memories from Soccer Morning. Which does that exist on the internet anymore? When I interviewed the
I
president
don't
of
know.
Iceland,
But if
The
they
vice-
do, you
okay,
need to go watch the Jonathan
president-
Tannenwald shows when you were unavailable for a while. When he did the whole shows himself, I loved it.
those were good. Those
JTT,
were good.
baby, more JTT, the better.
Man, that is.
Dude,
let's see,
who's gonna be your
10
guest?
years ago.
Who's gonna be
10
your first
years
guest?
ago.
Can you JTT?
My first guest. We have not
Yeah.
planned guest yet. We'll work on that. I think I wanted to. Oh, I wanted to have you as a guest, but
JT.
I don't know. We'll see. Share the word. Pass that
Well,
around.
if he's done
However that
grinding,
works.
maybe it's on
Tell
the show.
people. Morning kick around 3 times a week. The more support we get, the better chance that has to survive for a long time. So there's that. All right.
You know,
Mr.
you
DuBois.
didn't say when I said who's your first guest going to be on the show. You definitely didn't say me. I
I
baited
just
the hook.
said you were talking over me and not listening.
Was I
I said I
saying
wanted
JTT?
you to be the first guest.
Oh.
That's what I said.
No, I
That's
can't.
what I said.
I can't go in there with your new family and be the ex-wife. Like it's not a good look.
That's not
I'll
what
just
you
drop-
are.
I'll just
If
pull up to the
anything-
curb and let the kids out of the
Hold
car.
on. If anything, it's polygamy. It's not ex-wife. It's more like wife in another town that I don't talk about.
Oh, we're different area codes.
I've got 2 families. What are you talking about? This is. By the way, the guys who do that, I have no idea how that's possible. How do you
Yeah.
juggle that? What is wrong with you?
You've got to be like on the road for work. That's the only way I can think that works.
That's
By the way, can
so-
we give it up for someone in the chat's name is actually Wild Stallion? That's pretty badass.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Bill
missed
and
soccer
Ted's?
morning. I was a regular watcher and called a few times on the phone too. You know what he said? Excellent.
Yeah. Good. That's good. All right. Jared, any other thoughts before we roll out? Right, thanks for working through the technical
Hey,
issues.
Kai's got a
everybody.
question. Respectfully, why not just continue to build up this channel?
Uh,
Because
there-
one of us is lazy and doesn't do it.
It's possible that there will be maybe a merging of streams. We don't know yet. Okay?
Honestly, Jared's career in this is the most I want to do, and even this is probably more than.
And
I
you
wanna
wonder
do.
why I didn't workshop names with you.
And I let
And
you
you
know I
wonder.
would do it though for you. But listen, one of us has a career in this. One of us just has some fun. Okay, and I think you know which one is which.
Okay, look, you want us to be real though? You know this. I've told you this.
It would
The
do it me in a
dream-
second if I didn't want to.
The
do it.
dream was the best soccer show on the radio. The dream was you being a pro right alongside me, and
Yeah.
this being us and a thing.
I
and tell
just
me-
don't have that same.
Tell me we wouldn't be bigger than the Cooligans right now. You tell me that.
I mean, it's
'Cause
the same
it's
thing when we
a
talk about
lie.
with Corner of the Galaxy with Josh.
Just
when,
kidding.
When Josh and I started Corner of the Galaxy, like one of us was very aspirational, and one of us was just kind of like, "Yeah, I'll help you out on the side," and then always told him like, "Your property, buddy. If you want to go make this into something, it's yours." You know, like
Yeah.
I'm just not. And the same thing here. It's just I'm the one that holds this show back. Just know that.
That you don't hold the show back.
Well, I
The
mean,
show came back, 5 years ago, because I missed this dynamic, and
Yeah.
it's not the same.
did we start doing a bonus show at some point? I
anybody
missed
else.
it.
I think
Yeah,
we
that's-
are doing a bonus show. This is going to count as a bonus, I think, tonight.
Plus
We're gonna get-
the first part of the show that messed up.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna stitch all that together, but we'll figure it out. All right, thank you for watching. This is all business we should be doing behind the scenes and not right here. All right, bye guys. Talk to you soon.
Is that JTT?
OMFBG13, it's JTT!
Who was that? Oh, here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. What?
Can I get a manager? Can I please get a manager?
Go to DEFCON 2.
Danger zone!
Get to the chopper!
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Oh, it's incredible!
What are we doing?
Who asked those questions?
Another one.
Michael freaking Orozco Fiscal!
Jay Rodius.